Uh, yes, uh, they were indeed very unusual for me.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of telling you how I got into that, it would perhaps be better for me to describe what actually uh, I got into. You see, uh, I got into uh, a new state of being, as it were. Um, Mr. Brian Mason was here at the time, and um, something triggered the whole series of changes in me. But it came about in quite an unexpected way. Um, One day, I think I've heard this before, but let me go over it all over again. See, one day I was lying here, you see, on the same sofa, and suddenly I found my body was missing, and then I opened my eyes and looked at myself. The body was intact. Closed my eyes, and then I found that my body was missing. But I didn't pay any attention to that. Next day, Brian was here for lunch and a few other friends. And I told him, yesterday I found my body missing and it hasn't come back to me yet. And then there was another friend here who practices homeopathy. And he said, oh, no, something terribly wrong with you. It's something like the separation of body, you see. Let me go and get some homeopathic pills. He rushed to his hotel and brought some pills. But I felt that it was something more than, you see, separation of body, And then there's a series of changes took place one day. I found that, you see, my skin became suddenly very soft like a milk, And then the next day I found that my vision changed, and then my listening, and then my taste changed, and I found all my senses, 5 senses, started functioning as it were in a different kind of way. And the whole thing was so puzzling to me. I didn't know what it was. But yet, you see, somehow, you see, the whole thing became so panicky to me. I didn't realize what it was all about. And after a week, I suppose all these changes, it took almost a week, you see, for all these changes to take place. One day the eyes, another day the ears, the third day the taste, and the fourth day the skin, and fifth day, I don't remember what happened. You see, on the 6th day, you see, I was sitting there again, and then I felt all of a sudden that, you see, the life was simply ebbing out of me, and then I called her, you see, I feel as if I'm going to die. You see, I have come to the end of my life. But don't bother, you see, I always told her, you see, if something happens to me, hand over this body to to one of the hospitals. Don't bother about what to do with my body. And then she found me, you see, the whole body turned blue, and I was terribly shaking, and I felt as if life was ebbing out, you see, through every part of my body. I couldn't sit there, and I moved over here and stretched myself. And you see, but then you see, the whole thing was sinking inside of me, you see, as it were, you see, like a vacuum cleaner.
You sucked out.
Sucked out. And then you see, I was in a peculiar kind of state. there was terrible pain in my head and the pain all over my body. And then the last thing is, it's very difficult for me to go over all these things, but now it's by way of introduction, it is very necessary what happened, because all my memories are now fading out, and it's very difficult for me to recall with vividness what happened to me, but vaguely I remember. And then suddenly, you see, I felt that, you see, to use a simile, the aperture of a camera trying to close itself, and something in me, trying to keep it open. And then again, you see, the aperture was forcing itself to close down. I tried to keep it open, and suddenly, you see, it closed itself. And what happened afterwards, I didn't know, but after nearly an hour and a half, I came out of this, and the whole past completely disappeared, you see, and I felt as if, you see, I had no past at all, of any kind, and I felt as if I was waking up from, you see, a deep slumber, as if for the first time in my life. It was a clean slate. And then I didn't sleep that night, you see, at all. It was a very disturbed night. The next morning, you see, on the 7th day, I woke up again, you see, as if I was waking up for the first time in my life. And then on, you see, the series of bewildering situations for me. Then the next day, you see, I was sitting here, again, you see, I think by the time Brian had left and all the friends had left, suddenly, you see, the body began vibrating with a tremendously terrific vibrations, and I didn't know what to do. I couldn't control the vibrations. They were so terrific. And wave after wave, you see, started coming up from here, you see, to the head, and then these waves trying to escape through my, through the brain, you see, or something through the head, and this went on, you see, for nearly half an hour, wave after wave, wave after wave, wave after wave, with greater and greater speed. And then I couldn't control myself, and yet, you see, I tried to hold on, and I called her, something is happening to me, and she didn't know, and she said, you see, you can't do it by any volition of yours, something is all right, we have to put up with this, and it went on for half an hour, like that. And then I went into my room and stretched myself on the bed, and the whole night, you see, it's starting from here, from foot to head, this terrific wave after wave, like the ocean waves, it went on the whole night. I didn't know what it was. I didn't bother to do anything. And this friend of mine who practices homeopathy, he came and he brought some more pills. But then I suddenly realized there is something more to it than, you see, than the way I am, you see, interpreting these things. But anyway, you see, let me wait and see. And then, you see, the whole of this spinal column, I felt suddenly it was raw, like a wound. The whole thing is, I couldn't rest myself, you see, on the back and turn myself this way, that way. And it was such a terrific pain here. Not only here, the whole head was painful, And then from that moment onwards, you see, my awareness started changing, all of a sudden. So I realized that I was in a state of a peculiar kind of awareness, the awareness of things outside and the awareness of things inside. So that was the beginning, you see. And then I go for a walk and I see the things and I don't know what they are, you see. And I look at her and I don't know who she is.
You can't name her?
No, but you see, this started this way. The naming process was not there, you see. She goes out of this room and you see, she's out of my consciousness. She has been with me for 5-6 years every day. As long as she is here, as long as I am looking at her, she is here. But the moment she goes outside and she goes out, you see, she doesn't exist for me at all. The noises she makes in the other room, you see, are not in any way related to her, you see. Something totally unrelated, these two things. And then you see this kind of a bewildering thing continued for days and days, and this pain in the head, and then I felt, you see, that some kind of a change was going on inside my body. You see, this is some kind of an awareness. You see that every cell in my body, you see, every gland in my body was hit by something like what do you call the lightning, and all the cells, you see, every part of my brain was undergoing some kind of a transformation, as it were. And every organ in my body, you see, I felt was undergoing some kind of a change. It went on for 3 weeks. But you see, I didn't pay any attention. And then, you see, the breathing changed, my breathing. Suddenly I felt one day that, you see, the air was escaping through here. You see, I breathe in, and suddenly I felt that you see, it was escaping through some part here. I looked at it, no hole here, but at the same time, it was escaping as it were here. Then, you see, this David Barry was here one day, and he said, you look here, old chap, you see, this is not a funny thing that you got into. You see, these are all this. He is very well read in the Hindu philosophy, mysticism, and yoga. He's a very well read chap, and he lived with the Hindu monks. And he said, you see, you have come into an extraordinary state of being, similar to that of the religious teachers. They don't treat it very lightly. And then you see, but I didn't pay any attention. You see, although I myself was a student of philosophy, I taught Indian philosophy. I lived with the monks for 7 years, practiced everything. It never occurred to me that this could be the thing which I wanted when I was young. You see, and worked hard and hard. And then I told him, you see, well, anyway, if it is so, you see, maybe it is so, I don't know. But I set out to go to New York, and built up a tremendous image, you see, and the God-dazzling things, and the beauty, the grandeur, the splendor of New York City. I thought I was going towards there, and suddenly, if it is this what you say it is, I find myself in a God forbidden, even the devil's forsaken place. this can't be the thing. And see, then it is something as it were in me. There was nothing there inside of me. And I said, this is what you have been asking for. This is only not that. You see, that was only an image you built for yourself, but this is actually the thing. And I said to myself, you see, indeed I played with some kind of a dynamite. I didn't want this kind of thing. Anyway, I can't do anything about this. I have to stay with this, I told myself. And then, you see, this bewildering things continued for weeks and weeks. Everything I look at it, you see, the word doesn't come into my mind. And I look at a rose, and then I have to ask her, what is that flower? And she says rose, and we take a few steps more. And then I ask her the question again, you see, what is that? You see, this is rose. Like a baby, what's the matter with me? And with regard to everything, you see, everything I look at the tape recorder there, you see, and then the question arises in me, what is that? So then I had to ask her again, this kind of thing, you see, went on for months and months and months like this. Then I said to myself, you see, what is the point in asking this question to yourself? If you see a flower, you see, just forget it, you see. That is not even a flower to me. What it is, you see, God alone knows. So why should you ask yourself, what is that? You see, what does it matter whether it is a flower or a tree or a monkey or a donkey? It doesn't matter. So why do you go on questioning yourself every now and then? Every time you look at, I ask, what is your name? You see, it looks like you're living in a madhouse, as it were. And then this, I couldn't contain these, you see, the force of this, the energy that was generating inside of me, you see. The day after day, I felt that I couldn't possibly contain this, you see, and I must do something about it. At the time, Deskachari was here, and then I talked to him about this. He had explained to me, you see, this is supposed to be, you see, the state of being that all the religious teachers have come into, and you have come on the reverse gear. and we all struggle, work hard, and go through the mill for years and years and years. And I don't know what kind of special flowers you offer to Goddess Durga in your previous life. But anyway, you have it, and you see, and you must do something, you see, to control, you see, the escape of this energy, you see, out of your body. You come to India, we'll consult my father, and he is supposed to be an authority on yoga. So then I decided to go to India, but this continued for 4 or 5 months.
In India.
No, here, you see, this, but I was sick, totally and completely sick. You know, I did nothing but rest inside, you see, and watching, you see, what would be the outcome of this all. And then I went to India, and he suggested that I should go through a 48-day course of yoga and breathing exercises, and also some kind of a diet restrictions, a very bland food, milk and rice and some fruits and vegetables for 48 days. He thought I would be able to control this, you see. Not I would be able to control this. Somehow, you see, it will moderate its effects on the physical body. And then he felt that I should go on for another 48 days. So I went on with the course, and it did help me to contain, you see, to moderate the effects of these changes inside of me. And then, you see, I am still continuing the yoga lessons. And now it is something very natural to me. So there is no bewilderment. The awareness inside and the awareness inside and outside. These are the two things that are all there for me. And so when I look at something, see, there is no problem for me to ask what it is, but that has an effect on me, you see. And so you see suddenly somehow, you see, the machinations of the mind or the mental activity came to an end, you see, without any volition, without any effort on my part. And then, you see, the body took over, you see, as it were, and the sensitivity of the senses became extraordinarily sensitive.
Is that still so?
It is so. It is always so. What I am left with is only the body, and there is nothing inside of me except the life. You see, throbbing to a big part of the body. You see, that is all.
Yeah. So when you use the word I,
But that's only a mode of communication. It's the first person singular I have to use. Not that there is, you see, the consciousness of the I all the time. But the whole structure has come to an end, because there is no such thing as a center in me at all. And all the reactions are the bodily reactions to the environment, to the things around. Yes, I don't know if I have explained it. Maybe we can go into it and talk about it further. You see. I don't know if I have communicated it. If we go into it further, perhaps.
Maybe
Yes.
How do you know, for instance, when you're supposed to name a rose, how in your mind begin to remember that it was necessary to give a name
Well,
for that?
it's a very simple process. I can now, you see, describe that. You see the process, you know. All right, you look at a flower. You see, it is not that I am looking at the flower. The flower is looking at me. You see, the flower is looking at me because, you see, the eyes, you know. The eyes, as long as the eyes are open, they have to look at something or the other. If I close my eyes, then there is no problem at all. So if there is a tree, there is a tree, but I don't look at it as a tree. You see, the color is not there. If I use the word object, you see, the communication is very difficult. You see, so when you look at an object, if I use the word object, the difficulty is to communicate exactly what it is there inside of me.
so what happens? The object becomes you?
No, the object doesn't become me.
You are, but you say the word object now.
Now, how to communicate this to you? See, I see you.
Yeah.
You see, I see you, for instance.
Right.
I see her.
Yeah.
These are two different things, you see. How do I know that you are two different, that you are a woman and that he is a man? So because the light falls on you, your shape is different, your hair is different, the color of your clothes are different, and he has a different build, he has a different shape, and there is a space between you, you are sitting on that sofa. Actually and factually, you are not, please excuse my way of putting it, you are not different from the sofa. You see, that's of a different, if I say color, you see,
So it is a description.
There is nothing here. I am looking at all the things here.
Yeah.
You see, that is if I say that the chair, how do you distinguish? You see, the human being from the chair. You see, because you are all moving. Obviously, you are animate things, and the others are animate things. Because the light is falling on you. You see, the retina. You see, it's just like a camera lens. You see. If I turn this side, you don't exist for me. What is there? You see, the eyes look at it. If I want to, yes, I know his name, I know who he is, and the whole thing, you see, whatever I know, this is there in the background. If there is a need, who decides the need? I don't decide the need. The situation decides the need. You see, whether this information can be of any value, the situation. So the moment I see him, I don't even recognize him.
Yes.
But you see, so at the same time, there are certain courtesies.
Yes, right.
You know, common decencies. We live in this world. And so you see, the common decency suggests that I should say hello to him. You understand? So the word is there for me to supply hello or good morning. So the situation decides, each situation decides when and how the information that is there inside is necessary or is to be used. When that is over, you see, I say hello, and then this some kind of a declutching. You see, automatically it is declutched, and then we are back again. You see, in the same way I am looking at him.
Yeah.
And you see, because there is a movement inside him, you see, the movement of life. It is, you see, there is a movement of life. You see, so these two living things. Not these processes. There is no thinking at all.
Yeah.
You see, because the very recognition of any object, you see, as the difficulty is if I use the object, the very recognition of anything, you see, as an object or as a name, the thought comes in. So that means it is a waste of energy.
Yeah.
You see, the thought is a waste of energy. And so ordinarily, the thought does not come into my mind, come into being at all.
Yeah.
And yet, you see, there is already, you see, something that is going on, because you see, you are affecting me, not that I am affecting you. You see, if I see a thing, what you call a beautiful rose, you see, I don't call it a rose, number one. I don't know what that color is, right? And then you see, I don't even call it a beautiful thing. Maybe next to that you have very deep yellow grass flowers. The eye automatically goes to them and not to this. Because the deep colors, you see, always, you see, the eye goes straight, not the eye grows, that attracts the eye, and the retina captures that, you see, so the most beautiful flower has no importance at all. The green, the deep yellow color is a grass flower, it goes straight there. That may be the reason why, you see, the mystics always talked of the dewdrop on a grass. Because the reflection of the sun, it is very wide, and so the eye goes straight there. Not the eye goes there, but that attracts, you see, the eye, and not I am looking at it, you see, and that has an effect. It has a physical effect on me, because there is nobody else inside. There is no mental activity of any kind. Whatever you see is there in the environment. That affects the body. And how do I know that affects the body? You see, because you see, if I take a walk from here to the start, this is a very beautiful valley, number one. I don't call it beautiful. I have no choice. So if there is, you see, a very picturesque landscape, which we call a picturesque landscape, I don't call it. So the eyes are fixed straight, you see, on that, you see, and the eyeballs become very fixed. They don't move. And that, you see, the beauty of that landscape, or whatever it is, immediately, you see, has a reaction on me, because I take a deep breath. You see, so it is a breathtaking view, obviously. Otherwise, why would I take it? And then you see, I walk a few steps further. I see a cow moving, I don't call that a cow. It's like it's a newborn baby. You place her, you look as if you have never looked at the cow. You see the waving of the tail and the head. You see the moving, the horns, and it's not that nothing is going on inside me. I am describing it in order to communicate. Not communicate, to describe. You see a state of being at that particular moment. So you see, you are there at that particular, whatever the eyes see at that particular moment is all that is there for me in that world. That's all. There is nothing else. I move a little, and then something else comes. If there is anything of a beautiful thing around me, it immediately it has an effect on me. So I breathe again and again and again. This breathing process goes on and on and on, and this breathing has an effect inside of me because the oxygen enters, every cell in my body. Here I must mention, the what the Hindus call the chakras, You may have heard of. The center, they started all of a sudden, I still have some of them, and they appeared all over, the 34 spots appeared on my body. And the chakras, wherever the chakras are supposed to be, they are not chakras, but to me, the dormant glands in the body have suddenly become active. What triggered this process is very difficult because when once this stepping out process takes place, the triggering device is already there inside of you. It's automatic, and so the triggering device perhaps has set in motion, the whole process, and all these dormant, and particularly here, and now perhaps you can't see, the lotus appeared on my forehead. This perhaps is the pineal gland or the pituitary gland or some glands, the new glands, all the dormant glands, and here the pituitary gland, all of them by somehow activated, and this breathing, it's like a whirlpool. When it goes, it takes turns like this and spreads to every nerve center in my body. And I become aware of this process because there are 64 spots on my body. Where I feel the pulse, not only here and here, but in 64 spots. The throbbing of the life is felt by. I become aware, not felt by somebody. And so this. And then again, when I breathe out, the same process goes on. And the whole body is heated up as a result of this breathing in and breathing out. And then it produces large quantities of saliva. And so I have to swallow that saliva. The moment this saliva goes inside, it generates electricity inside the body. And it goes on and on and on, whether you look at an object there, or whether you listen to a music, or whether, no matter what you do, I have no choices. I can't say I'm going to listen to something this, or going for a walk. It's naturally I take a walk because the body needs some exercise, and so I usually take a walk. Or if I sit here and I look out of the window, I can sit there and look out of the window for the rest of my life. Because every time I look out, it's something new, which I have never seen before. Every day I see this. And every automobile that's going there, it's a moving thing. If I call it thing, because what it is, you always wonder, the moving thing on the road. And then it's one after the other, one after the other, one after the other. These automobiles come different colors, with different shades. So you can go on looking at them because there's nothing else to do. At this particular moment, if there is something, something to do. Yes, for instance, he told me that you would all be coming here at 4 o'clock. I was ready by 3:45. If there is nothing there for me, I go inside of my room and rest. When there is no awareness outside, there is an awareness inside. And what is that awareness inside means? You become aware of the movement of your body, the blood, the heartbeat. I listen to the heartbeat, and so it's very interesting to listen to one's own heartbeat. That's possible only when the outside sounds are not there. But there is all the time this tremendous, what shall I say, this state of silence. It's not, silence means not the absence of sound at all. The sounds are there, but no distinction whether somebody is playing a piano there or somebody, some screeching, screaming noise, some there, you see, or the utensils noise, they are all the same. You see, they come and hit you, see. That's all. You see, the sound is there, and when you look at it, the things are there, and what am I saying? And so, you see, I can stay in my bed, you see, and there is no such thing as hunger for me, you see, because I don't feel the chemistry of the body needs food, and so I take food at regular intervals to keep the body going. Otherwise, I feel weak. For days and days, so I didn't take food at all, and I felt weak because there is no such thing as hunger at all. That seems to be the only thing that the body needs. You see, the body has to be, what is left is only the body, and so the body has to be maintained in a perfect condition, and so you see, this goes on and on and on and on. You see, day after day. It's an interesting thing. It's an extraordinarily, for the first time, you see, you feel that this is the way to live. You see, the way the people live is something terrible, because you see there are conflicts, contradictions, and why they worry themselves over all these things, because this is the way to live. You see, that is not the way to live. And then how to how should I put it? Why you see the people come with all kinds of questions. You know, when I meet friends here, they come here, they ask hundreds and thousands of questions, because you see there are no questions for me at all. What has happened is, you see, we all sought something and we seek something. We are seeking something. It is not that you have arrived at this destination, or that you have found what you have sought all your life, but the search has suddenly come to an end. You see, and this is that means, you see, there is no questioner inside of me. I am not only questioning. Not questioning what is this, what is that, what is that, and what is this, but also the so-called deeper problems. You see, what is this life? What is life? Is there any meaning in this world? In our existence, has life any purpose? Or the universe around you? How this whole thing has come into existence? The perfect. You see, all these questions, you see, are trivial, because there is no questioner who is asking any questions of any kind anymore inside of me. And so why do they ask all these questions? Of course, there are basic questions. If I want to go to the railway station, naturally, if I ask, if I don't know, I will ask somebody. These are the questions of the day-to-day existence. But there is no questioner at all inside of me. No questioner asking any questions of any kind anymore. The questioner has disappeared. Not that I have found the answers for all these questions, or it's not a matter of saying that the metaphysical questions have no answers. It's not any of those things. It is just that the questioner has just disappeared all of a sudden, by some luck, if you want to say, by accident, or how, I don't know. You see, up to a point, you can trace what happened, and then there is a leap. You see, and this leap is very difficult to describe how it happened. I really don't know why it happened and what triggered the whole the series of changes inside me. It is very difficult to find the missing link between the two. You see, I can only say by some luck. You see, or if you want to say, if you believe in some kind of a grace, this is by grace of whom I wouldn't know at all. So somehow, you see, the whole thing happened, and here I find myself is completely a living human being, living for the first time. For the first time, the living quality has an opportunity. The living quality inside of me has an opportunity to express itself in an extraordinarily sensitive way, and taking in everything that is there, whatever is presented, and to be in this state of what shall I call awareness? It is a rubbed coin. It's awareness, not in the sense in which the psychologists use the word, but and perhaps Krishnamurti's phrase, in a state of choiceless awareness, because I have no choices of any kind. Whatever is presented to me at that particular moment is all that is there for me, to look at or to listen to. There is no need for me to close my eyes, either because as long as the eyes are open, I see. The ears listen to the things, and if I touch something is hot, something is soft, and there is no body consciousness even. So this is perhaps what the Hindus call as sahaja samadhi, is a natural state of, and sometimes you see, this goes into a different kind of a state, as it were. Not that I live on different levels. The awareness disappears. Even the awareness disappears. That's a thing which I can't bring into being. It comes by itself, uninvited. I can't do a thing about it to bring that state into being. It is something like saying to myself, I'm going to dream a beautiful dream. You can't say. So it's all of a sudden from nowhere, you see. And this kind of a thing descends as it were on you. This is the only thing I feel, that somehow something is descending, you see, on me, filling the whole being. And it begins, you see, with this kind of peculiar feeling, is the anesthetics, you know, if you go, if they give the anesthetics or anesthesia, whatever you call it, you see, the whole process based, the brain becomes so dull, you see, and suddenly the whole awareness, you see, disappears, and the body becomes, for all practical purposes, it is dead, as it were, because the body becomes very stiff. I prefer to lie down rather than sit at the time, because you see the eyes. I prefer to close my eyes. I can keep my eyes open. Whether I keep my eyes open or closed, it's just no importance at all. So all of you disappear for me, because the eyes are open and yet I see nothing, because there is no awareness even there. And then you see this lasts sometimes 1 hour, 1.5 hours, 3 hours. I know what happens, because you see it begins here, and the head becomes so tightening process. You know, it's some kind of a tightening process takes place inside, and then it's some kind of a blow up. Blow up. You see, you are off completely. See, nothing exists for me. The eyes, even if I keep my eyes open, they become bloodshot, as it were, and I can't see anything at all. And I prefer to lie down during that period. Sometimes it lasts for half an hour, 1 hour, 2 hours. And those who look at the body, see, they know that it is like a stone, you know. See, can you understand what happens to the body in that state? So that's the thing which I don't know at all, you see.
You become almost very pale, like yellowish, bluish yellowish, and like alabaster or something like that. Really very much like a corpse. And the whole head sinks and is absolutely motionless. It can last very long, motionless.
Obviously, yes. Obviously, the signs of life are there. It's the heartbeat. I hear up to a point, the heartbeat, the pulse, and the brain waves, you see. And the
breathing is very, very slow. The
breathing becomes practically unnoticeable, as it were. And then you see, when I come out, you see, suddenly you see, then I realize that I'm still, the life is still there. You see. And this sometimes happens 2 times, 3 times, 4 times. It's just nobody can say when this comes and why this comes, how this comes.
But somehow you can at any time, if somebody comes or there is some disturbance, in a second he just clear.
There is a completeness about it. You see,
in no moment is there unclear. So between both, either he is off, as he says, or he is perfectly present.
Well, of course, it's known that in investigations of the brain structure, that awareness depends on something on the base of the brain, which can be affected, for example, by various chemicals, such as serotonin.
But what has happened to me is, you see, the brain that we have in common with the animals. You see, this has undergone, you see, a radical change, as it were. How do I know? You can very well ask me the question. You see, because this process of the billions of cells we have in this brain, see, they say that we have 10 billion cells and then 100 billion minor cells connecting. And the cells inside the bones also, you see, underwent a radical mutation, if I may use that word. Because when there is a change in the cell, when there is a sudden death, you see, of the center, the eye, or whatever you call inside of you, takes place, and this body has got to undergo a transformation. So every gland in my body, every cell in my body has undergone a radical mutation. Why I use the word mutation? Because I can't think of a more appropriate word. You see, this process went on and on and on for, you see, because I could feel, I could be, not feel, you see, I was aware that, you see, this process of change going on. It's just like, you see, the blood rushing in, you see, and then, you see, the changes taking place, you see. Every cell in my body has undergone a transformation. Every gland has undergone a transformation because it seems to be functioning, you see, in a different way. And also this is the one thing which I would very much like one of these days, if I had an opportunity, to the brain waves, you know, you see, the brain waves are terrific. And the electricity that goes out of my body is tremendous, you know, since there is no point inside of me, see, there is no space for me at all. If I close my eyes, I tried all these. You see, I'm very skeptical about the whole business. But anyways, this is why. That's why perhaps they have used the word enlightenment or illumination. You see, when I close my eyes, you see, there is light here. You see, the whole thing is filled with light, as it were. There is no body at all. There is no body consciousness. Whether I keep my eyes open or closed, it doesn't make any difference. I can look at this, whose hand it is, I wouldn't know at all. You see, if I touch it, if I call it, yes, this is a hand, but whose hand it is, next question.